We're joined in this morning by Mr. Samson Ojutalayo, who is an economist. He's going to be joining us in this situation, in this conversation. Many have said, look, inflation is going to bite harder. Already before now, the May inflation figures show that April inflation figures show that the inflation is about 22.22% in the country as it is. Well, with things and the prices of things tripling and even quadrupling with the fuel subsidy saga, what would it mean for Nigerians? They say if even minimum wage hasn't been increased, salaries remain the same. People who have fixed income remains the same. Transportation hasn't been fixed. So all of these are just going to make life a lot harder for Nigerians. Even with the availability of the product, people cannot afford it. And joined in by my guest this morning, Mr. Ojutalayo, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, friends, and good morning, Nigeria.
I'm glad that you're here this morning. How have you been? Yesterday, when the new price templates was released by the NNPC, going from between 488 naira to about 457 naira, how did that meet you?
Well, the template actually is a guide, and based on what we have in the Nigerian budget, it is not supposed to take effect until the expiration of the second quarter. So I'm just wondering why the filling stations decided to increase price and to do so. And that tells you one thing, that Nigeria deserve the kind of leaders they have. That tells you another thing, that Nigerians always want to exploit situation. We want to exploit each other. You see, NMPC released a price template yesterday. Now you need to pass the circular to all the marketers and all the vested interests in the petroleum sector. We've not done that, and somebody that has old stock is already increasing price. So when I saw that yesterday, I thought, okay, this needs to get to those that will implement it. But it hasn't even gotten to them, and some people are already increasing price. And for me, that's the volume of the kind of people we are. Remember, during the cash crunch, that the POS was they will get this money. They just want to plead everybody that is coming to them to get the money. And that also speaks volume of the kind of people we are in this country. So the problem is not Tinubu. The problem is not those around him that are working. The problem is us. The problem is us.
If we say the problem is the marketers who have increased the price, then it leaves us wondering what the NNPC is, because the NNPC is government. The NNPC is owned by government, even though they say it's a limited liability company, but the board and everything is constituted by the federal government. The president appoints the board and all. What is it? Why is it that the NNPC that is supposed to be on the side, if we say that adjusting the pump price was wrong by the marketers, NNPC doing it, what do you call that?
Well, the thing is this, on this matter, now the president only made a pronouncement. There are people that will execute any pronouncement, any policy statement that the president made. So what they are doing now is execution. They want to guide us as to what to build our expectations. But that has not even really been passed across, and some people are already executing. So do you put the cart before the horse? No, you don't do that. You don't jump the gun. They've not told you what to do, but you have already decided to go ahead to do whatever you want to do. For me, that is wrong. For me, I don't think it's the best thing to do, because if the NNPC to say, okay, start, they're not asking to start, and you're already starting. Now, if the DSS, the GPR, the what is it called, civil defense, if they come to your filling station now to shut down your filling station, you will start shouting, Tinubu is back, Tinubu is this. Then is the problem, Tinubu, what did you do wrong before those that were to be in charge of monitoring and evaluation? What the counts on your filling station?
Well, they say these people, the marketers, as it is, are only responding to the statements by the president. which says subsidy is gone. And if subsidy is gone and NNPC, which is the sole importer of PMS in the country, has adjusted the pump price and released a statement. I'm going to read the statement by the NNPC. It says, NNPC Limited wishes to inform our esteemed customers that we have adjusted our pump prices of PMS across our retail outlets in line with current market realities, as we strive to provide you with the quality service for which we are known. It is pertinent to note that prices will continue to fluctuate to reflect market dynamics. We assure you that the NNPC Limited is committed to ensuring a ceaseless supply of products. The company sincerely regrets any inconvenience these developments may have caused. We greatly appreciate your continued patronage, support, and understanding during this time of change and growth. And that statement was signed by Garbaddin Mohammed, who is the Chief Corporate Communications Officer of NNPC Limited. This brings us to a place of confusion because initially NNPC on Tuesday morning had said, look, they have enough supply for to last the month of June, and people should not panic buy, marketers should not increase the prices, people should not hoard the products. And all of a sudden, Wednesday morning, NNPC makes a reversal, comes back with a new price adjustment, and people are wondering, if the sole importer has adjusted price, why should I not adjust my price? This is a government-owned institution adjusting price.
Yeah.
So if that's not what the president meant when he said subsidy was gone, if it means that it wouldn't elapse until end of June, then they should have made sure that the NNPC, which it owns and controls to a large extent, doesn't get in that way. Because I mean, what kind of example would we be setting?
Well, the thing is this: two wrongs doesn't make a right. That's number one thing. If NNPC have done it, must you do it? Number one. You are saying they are so important, but remember that they are also now a business entity. So whatever they have done, we should know that they are already protecting their own business interests. So if they are business entities, the cry of Nigerians now should not be towards Mr. President. The cry of Nigerians, in short, if we have to protest, we should go to those filling stations and stampede them. We should not be crying to Tinubu, we should be crying to the filling station, because look at it this way. We are looking at subsidy now. That these people have been paid up to June. Now they are not coming in May, because we are not today. We are already in June. They were looking at when this introduction was made. Now we are still in May. Our money has been paid you in June. But by May, you are saying you are removing subsidy. What it means is that you are selling at double the price that you are supposed to sell, because you have collected this subsidy from the government. You ought to sell to the public at a reduced price, but now you want to sell at a higher price. So what it translates to is this: you are selling at double the price of what you ought to sell actually. So what we are saying in essence is this: that the cry of Nigerians should not even be to Mr. President. The cry of Nigerians should be to NNPC itself. If we have to protest, we should protest. We should lock the NNPC office, because they are business entities. So if it is AARO or if it is any other filling station that is carrying out this nefarious, we should go and protest against them and not against Mr. President. Because why? They have been paid this money ahead. The money have been paid ahead.
So I'm struggling to understand this. I'm struggling to understand this because the NNPC pays the subsidies. It is through the NNPC that federal government pays the subsidies. And NNPC just recently revealed that the federal government owes it 2.8 trillion naira on account of payments of subsidies. If the company that pays subsidies, that knows that it has paid subsidies up till June, is now selling at an adjusted pump price, why should we not be crying to the president? Because all of this emanated from the pronouncements made by the president. Before now, NNPC did not adjust their pump prices until the president made that statement. So isn't this a government issue per se? Because policies do not come to play until someone makes a pronouncement, and the president make that pronouncement.
you see, something happened in River State that OPC just some rules, constructed some roads, which were federal roads. Then, when Buhari came, former President Buhari decided to pay. But at the time the payment was made, it went to the successor of President Abiy, which was Governor Wike. That the federal government says you can be rest assured, no government is a continuum. So you can be rest assured that the debt will be paid. It is just a good debt if you are owned by the government. Now, if NLC is claiming that the federal government is owing them in trillions, be rest assured that this money will still be paid. So if you are shortchanging Nigerians now because you are old, then what happens when you have been paid? Do you refund us? The answer is no. Now, what we are saying is coming to the fact that the president made a pronouncement. Yes, the government made a pronouncement. Then wait until what can be appropriated for in the budget, until we have adjusted that out. Provision was made the month of June, which we have just started today. So if you have to effect anything, no matter the pronouncement, you have to wait for the end of this month. Even in the court of law, if the judge gives a verdict, if the judge gives a judgment, you still appeal it. But why? Quick. If the government has said that, okay, they should reduce the pump price, between you and I, these guys will they can go announcement. We have to go memory. The people do not obey. They have to wait. What were they telling us? They told us that the old stuff they have is what they are still telling. But now, why is it that they've not even allowed the statement to leave the mouth of the president? They protected the country. Now, I repeat the way I started, that Nigerians were the problem of ourselves. Because the problem is not the leaders we have, it is the people that is the problem. Because how can the president make a statement and there is a legal backing that, okay, this statement, no matter what it is, we are still supposed to work in modalities of how it will take effect. You have already jumped the gun to go and effect the thing. Go wrong now. You don't do that.
But the presidency, the presidency or the president hasn't said that, or contrary to what it is. They're standing by the fact that the subsidy is gone. Subsidy has been removed. I don't know. We might have heard the son of the president in an event yesterday or so telling, the supporters of the APC and that, well, they need to educate Nigerians that subsidy is gone and why subsidy must go. Now, that's not even the issue. The crux of the matter is not that subsidy goes, whether subsidy has to go or not, because everyone agrees, or lots of Nigerians agree, that subsidy should be gone, should be removed. The problem is how it was removed and the shock absorbers put in place to ensure that it doesn't really hit Nigerians badly when it is removed. Say, for instance, this morning, a lot of people found it really hard to get to work. All right, because transportation has tripled. Places where people used to get to for 200 naira now cost about 500 naira or so. People are finding it really hard. Motorists cannot even afford to buy the products. So, say a cab guy who used to buy fuel for 5,000 naira to do his business in a day can now, 5,000 naira cannot even buy up to 10 liters of fuel now. So, how would the businesses survive? How would people, the ordinary Nigerians, survive? That's the crux of the matter.
Yes, the thing is, you have to buy, you have to sell what you buy. So the thing is this: we should expect to see in economics there's what we call short run and long run. When things like this have to happen, you expect a short run implication whereby some factors will be variable and some will be fixed. At the moment, we have some fixed stuff, and now we have some variable items. So what we are looking at is this. We should not look at the short-run impact of what the pronouncement is. We should look at the long-run impact of what Mr. President's pronouncement is.
I'd love to ask, what is a short run for you? What do you think is a short run? How long is it, or how short is a short run?
We'll be feeling the heat. We'll feel some negative vibe. We'll get some negative impact.
For how long?
The thing is this. As long as how we can adjust to the change that is being brought to us by the policy. So the thing is, we can't just say we continue to pay subsidy. We can't continue like this. Between you and I, it is too expensive for us. How much did Dangote use to build the refinery? The money Dangote used to build the refinery will be what we pay on subsidy within 2 years. So is it not better for us to just scrap the subsidy, suffer what we ought to suffer? Let's reduce our. Well, how will you be using B12, B14 benefits? Reduce it. Go and buy Corolla. Go and buy your manual and be driving manual up and down. Reduce your way of life. Let us adjust to this thing and let's get infrastructure in place. But when the president was making that pronouncement, he said the money that we will use to pay subsidy, we will use it in infrastructural development. So if you don't want us to continue in wastages, you must support the idea of subsidy removal. Because in the long run, we will live to enjoy it. If we have to build another refinery, we start us.
So, if you recall in 2015, the problem now is that Nigerians cannot even trust their government. In 2015, President Buhari said subsidy was removed. You may recall Ibe Kachukwu had told Nigerians the subsidy had been removed. Prices of fuel went up from 87 naira or so, 89 naira, to about 140 naira, and Nigerians were happy and said, "Oh, we're going to endure this if this is what it would mean for us to fix Nigeria and get things working again, and subsidy has gone, then it's good." But today, this is 8 years after, we're still talking about subsidy being removed, and this government again has come in its early days to say subsidy has been removed. So, can Nigerians trust that government has really removed this subsidy, or would it come back in the next 4 years and still continue to talk about subsidy? Again, when the subsidy was said to be removed, it was said that monies were going to be redirected into infrastructure and the likes that would support Nigerians and their businesses and all. That didn't really happen. As we speak today, the problem is not about the man who drives a V6 or a V8. The problem is about the man who runs a barbing salon in the village, where there's no light, where he has to buy fuel to cut people's hair to be able to put food on the table. The conversation is about the man who drives a cab or a taxi, who buys fuel for maybe 2,000 naira or 3,000 naira to do his business for the day, and now cannot even afford to buy the fuel to be able to do that business, to put food on the table. That's the conversation. That's where the problem is. As an economist, I would expect that you were able to, show us some things that the government can do now to be able to, mitigate or alleviate some of the problems or the sufferings that Nigerians would go through as a result of the subsidy removal.
Okay, the thing is this. Now, you talked about previous governments removing subsidy. What we had then was removal in 2012. The people protested, then they said, okay, we will not do a total. Jonathan moved this to 112. The people revolted. No, I think he did 140, 145. The people revolted, and
it was 112. It was around 112 naira or so at the time, and the people occupied Nigeria, and it was reversed.
So it was reversed, but not totally. Now, what that means was a partial removal of subsidy. What the current administration wants to do is to do a total removal. If you keep telling people to do a partial removal, we will keep having the problem of the government coming back in another 4 years to say they want to remove subsidy again. So leave them, let them remove the subsidy totally. That's what we are saying. The only thing we should be discussing is what are the palliatives put in place to ameliorate the impact of the subsidy removal. But as long as there is no palliative put in place to cushion the effect of the removal, then you can say you protest against the government. But if it is for the removal for now, if there will be protest, the protest will be against the filling station, the marketers, and even the solar. But doing that as it may, what the government is doing now at the moment is to do a total removal of subsidy. So we are not expecting subsidy to be removed again, even in the nearest future. Forever and ever, it is gone. But if you force this government to do a partial removal, please write it down. In the nearest future, in 2 years' time, they will come back to say they want to remove subsidy. And those that are bleeding the country will still come back to come and still bleed the country the more. So it allow them to remove it now and channel the gain into other needed infrastructural development. Or we increase the government. And mind you, when this guy was campaigning, I mean the president, he said that he will remove subsidy, and no matter how long you protest, that he will not bend. And mind you, those that are even supposed to blackmail him, he lost in their territory, lost in Lagos, lost in Kano, lost in Osun, lost in Abuja. So what we are saying is this man still went ahead to vote for him. Meanwhile, he told you that he will subsidy if he gets to power.
Mr. Ojutalayo, I think the thing is no one is disputing the fact that subsidy has to go. The conversation is about how it's going and what needs to be done to ensure that the sufferings and the other economic impacts are mitigated to reduce the pain on Nigerians. That's the conversation.
We should not be discussing we should not be discussing the removal of subsidy. We should be discussing palliative measures. We should be discussing how to suit the pain of Nigerians.
Are you saying that the previous administration had proposed to distribute or disburse about 7,000 or so 5,000 naira to 50 million Nigerians? Is that what you're saying that we should do at this point to ameliorate the sufferings?
5,000 is ridiculously small. Like, I have a family of 5, and 5,000 I don't even think it will last us for 2 days. So how can you tell me you distribute? And that is what I would have loved us to be looking at. Instead of discussing something.
So that has been my question. What do you think, as an economist, what do you think we can do, or we should do, or the government should do to mitigate the sufferings of Nigerians?
It's not that this government is being stampeded. I would have expected modular refineries to be in place before this subsidy removal will take effect. I would have expected that we have enough data to even know how much fuel we consume per day, rather than working on hypothetical data. I want us to have the real data of what it is that we consume per day, per month, before we say, okay, subsidy removal. Yes, we know we'll remove subsidy, but these modular refineries ought to have been in place for us to now say we will remove the subsidy.
So you agree that the timing for the removal or total removal is wrong? Is that what you're saying?
I will not want to agree with you that the timing is not
okay.
So he didn't say this thing ought to start by end of June, and somebody is campaigning the government to go and start by end of May. It is wrong. The timing is there's nothing wrong with the timing. The man only made pronouncement. He hasn't said remove. He said we will remove it.
He did not say we will remove it. He said subsidy is gone. That's what people were acting on.
Subsidy is gone.
Gone is past tense in English. It means that it is past. It is gone. It didn't say it is going or it would go. He said it is gone, which means that it's in the past. It's no longer there.
Whatever English, subsidy is gone. I agree. But the thing is, don't stampede the government. I mean, when I'm saying stampede, I mean Nigerians and the marketers. They should not stampede the government. These people, the arrangements according to the budget, these subsidies should be paid from January to June. If I say subsidy is gone, and the provision I have before now is that I will pay subsidy till the end of June, and by May I declare that subsidy is gone. Does that make what I've provided for?
Mr. Ojutalayo, you seem to be contradicting yourself, because the same government was in a meeting with the NNPC Limited, GMD or GCEO now, yesterday, when the NNPC had adjusted the pump price of the PMS. So where do we stand with this? Why didn't the government at the time tell NNPC to say, look, we're not doing this now. We have to wait till the end of June before we remove it?
I didn't get the question, please.
I'm saying that the NNPC was in a meeting with the federal government yesterday. The group managing director and CEO of the NNPC was in a meeting with the presidency or the president yesterday, or the federal government yesterday. And the federal government did not say to it, look, reverse whatever pricing you have adjusted. Nothing like that's happened. The NNPC is standing by the prices that they're selling at. For Abuja this morning, fuel prices are 537 naira in the filling station, the NNPC stations. So what do you expect the ordinary marketer to sell?
The thing is this: the government may not say that that they should reverse it. They are not aware that the DPR, the DSS, maybe not DSS, the DPR, the civil defense, they are patrolling stations to see. As at yesterday, some people see sold for 194. There may be few stations, but you discover that the security apparatus of the state is overwhelmed. So if they are bringing this problem of fuel into it, they may not be able to go around the station. Now, what am I trying to bring out? You may go to, we don't have details of what the NNPC told Mr. President. Probably they told Mr. President that, okay, by June, we will effect these prices. These are the prices we have. They will have been able to convince, for example, during the cash crunch. One of the things he told Mr. former President Buhari was that if we effect this cash, if we move away liquidity in the system, that will reduce banditry, it will reduce terrorism. And the president agreed. Was that the impact in the system? No. So what is this? Is that probably the president might have been told that, oh, these are the prices you intend to effect by June ending. And the president will say, okay. Because meanwhile, the president was have been hearing one or two that, okay, some people have already expected it. But unknown to him that what these people are saying may be a lie. So we don't really know, we don't have the full details. So if the president did not say they should stop, chances are that they told him that this thing will take effect by end of June. Because based on the budget.
Are you saying that the president doesn't know what's going on in the country? Mr. Ojutalayo, we're running out of time. I'm going to say thank you so much for joining in this conversation. It's been an interesting conversation with you this morning. I'm loving the conversation. We'll have to bring in another guest at about 9 now. So thank you so much for your thoughts on the conversation this morning. Appreciate you so much.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
The 2023 WAEC May-June results analysis for Stella Maris College Abuja based on distinctions are as follows. Parallel distinction 90, 8 distinction and above 50, 7 distinction and above 43, 6 distinction and above 38, 5 distinction and above 14, 4 distinction and above 3, 3 distinction and above 3, total 170. So why not choose Stella Maris College Abuja today? The dates for entrance exams are 24th June and 12th August 2023 respectively. Stella Maris College is at Area 1 and Wumba for day college, while boarding college is at Life Camp Abuja. For more enquiries, call 0809 037 3727 or 0817 204 7070 or check us online www.smsabuja.com.
Are you looking for an internet service that will make surfing on the internet an enjoyable one? Do you want a super fast connection to the internet? Look no further, as Eagles Internet Services is here for you, an effective internet service provider with 99% proven reliability for residential and office services. We provide unlimited internet bandwidth services of different bundles tailored to meet your desires and taste. It is reliable, affordable, with a wide coverage. You can locate them at Plot 1719 Cadastral Zone B, Kaura District, or you can call 081 33121423 or 09065765969. Eagles Internet Service. Stay connected to everything you love.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Thank you so much for staying with us. This is Eagles 102.3, your radio experience you can count on. And it's been Eagles Outlook. We had spoken earlier to Mr. Samson Ojutalayo, who is an economist, sharing his thoughts with us and saying, look, Nigerians don't stampede the government. Stampede, let them allow the subsidy go. Saying Nigerians allow the subsidy go once and for all. And I'm bringing in another guest this morning, Mr. Titus Gado, who is a sociologist and public affairs commentator as well. He's joining us in the conversation. Mr. Titus Gado, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Prince Enacho.
Yes. So we were speaking earlier with Mr. Ojutalayo, who had mentioned, look, Nigerians don't blame the governments, don't bite off the head of the president for making that declaration that subsidy was gone. And he says, it's good that we just allow the federal government to remove this once and for all. And it says the timing isn't wrong. People should not make the government reverse this decision. Joining in, what are your thoughts on the current situation of the country with the new pricing templates released by the NNPC and Labour also going in a meeting with the federal government and, that meeting ended in a deadlock? What do you hope that, would result from this interaction between the federal government and the Nigeria Labour Congress?
Well, good morning, Nigerians, and I wish it was really a good morning for all of us. The first thing I want to say is that fuel subsidy removal is something that has been long coming. It's something that has been in the pipeline for too long a time. We must also appreciate the fact that it is a political necessity, but also it is, it's an economic necessity, but also a political dilemma, because we have to look at the economic implication of keeping subsidy and also look at the social implication on the lives of Nigerians. But I must appreciate the fact that, yes, as much as it has been in the pipeline, what has the government done over the years to ensure that we don't find ourselves in this emergency situation which we find ourselves today? The fact that preparation, the federal government had always conceived this. Did we prepare for it? We're talking about fuel subsidy removal. What are the issues on ground? How has the federal government prepared for Nigerians to cope with the untold hardship that they are into today? One thing we must also appreciate is the fact that the organized labor are taking a stand. They are not against fuel subsidy removal, but they are against the current approach of the federal government. We have a government who woke up overnight, decide that, okay, this thing is in the past. It's not done that way. What measure have you put in place? Everybody appreciate the fact that subsidy must go, but everybody must also appreciate the fact that measures must be put on ground. Currently, Nigeria has an overbloated poverty level of 84%. 84 million Nigerians are into poverty. If we have 84 million Nigerians in poverty, living who were surviving on an average fuel price, of let's say 220, because the price range from different locations. But you have situations like this. But we must also forget, people tend to forget that once you have an increase in the pump price of fuel, every other thing in the country gets to experience inflation. Now, if you already had about 84 million Nigerians in poverty, today fuel will be selling for about as far as 511, 520 in some places. What does that tell you? It tells you that we are going to have increased number of increased poverty level as well. Not to talk about the inflation. Inflation is something that is already in place as we speak. The very day this was declared, inflation kicked in. This is not just inflation. Hyperinflation kicked in. So you have goods and things that you could averagely afford for maybe 200. As of today, going for about 300 to 400. Transportation is nothing to talk to even write home about. You have high level, transportation from averagely, if you want to take from Wagolada to Area 1, you should be looking at nothing less than 1,000 naira, or at least 800. And how much is the average Nigeria earning? Let's say those who are even into civil service. How much is their salary? The minimum wage of 30,000 naira cannot cope in this reality. But the organized labor is not even talking about minimum wage. What we are looking at is the implication on the average Nigerian. Because if we start talking about remove subsidy but increase minimum wage, how about those who are not into organized employment?
But people argue to say that, look, if there's any hardship to deal with subsidies removed, then let us deal with it once and for all. Let it. There's no good time. There's no better time to remove fuel subsidy. It has to be done, and it has to be done once and for all. What do you make of that argument?
Natural. We remove subsidy. The excuse we have always been told, or that government has always given, even right from the time of Jonathan, is the fact that they want to bring back our refinery so we can begin to produce to our own capacity. Since 2012, nothing. We have no functional refinery in this country. A typical case is the Kaduna refinery, which is a liability, does not refine anything, does not do anything. But over the years, what we keep getting from there is deficit. Now, what has the government done? The fact is that the average Nigerian appreciates the fact that subsidy must go. Subsidy payment is a conduit pipe for corruption, and we must allow it to go. Because what measures have the government done over the year? What measures have been put in place? Today, one man has been able to build a refinery that will start producing hope. Today we're already in June. That will soon start producing and selling to the Nigerian market. One man. But the government of a country cannot put its own existing 4 refineries into operation. Now, the debate about subsidy back and forth, the whole thing lies on the fact that yes, we keep importing, so the government wants to cut costs on the average Nigerian. But that is not the case. What we feel is that we need to have a system. We need to bring back our refineries to produce to capacities. If we have these 4 refineries producing to capacity and having a +1, a private refinery, that would have, we shouldn't be talking about subsidy any longer. But the government is not talking about that. You wake up overnight and you decide to dish out and say subsidy is gone. What is the cost of transportation today? What is the implication on the food prices in Nigeria today? What is the average man earning as his take-home salary every month? And I will tell you, what many people have been paid this month cannot take them to the next 1 or 2 weeks.
Let's talk about NLC for a bit. So there was a court ruling against ASU, allowing for the federal government's no work, no pay policy. What do you think this would mean? Wouldn't this make NLC a toothless bulldog, especially in this time?
If there's anything I know about the current leadership of the NLC, is that it cannot be cowed into any form of compromise that is against the interests of Nigerians and the working class. The federal government went against itself. The judiciary, by its own decision and discretion, nullified Section 43, subsection 2 of the Trade Dispute Act. And by implication, one thing that I know is that the NLC will not be cowed to want to say, okay, we will not declare strike. I am not in the mind of the NLC. I am not in the mind of the leadership. But they have done the right thing by engaging the government, by ensuring that what measures have you put in place and what measures can be put in place. And I believe these are some of the issues on the table for discussion. And I also believe that going forward, the leadership of the NLC will make and will definitely come up with decisions which, to an extent, will be in the interest of the Nigerians. Because if we allow this to continue, this emergency decision of the federal government to continue, the hardship will be more. Civil servants will suffer for it. Private workers will suffer for it. The average Nigerian who is not even employed, the farmer, the trader, the artisans, all will suffer for it. So it is in the interest of Nigerians that they are going into this. And whatsoever decision or judgment that has come up before now will not deter the leadership of the NLC and TUC, hopefully.
And the NLC is saying, the NLC put out a press release yesterday to say that they want things to go back to status quo. They want federal government to return to status quo and every other thing return to status quo while the conversation and negotiation is going on. do you think that that would happen? Because we saw that the deadlock, the meeting between the federal government and NLC ended without any resolution. If this conversation continues, do you think that the federal government will be able to go back on its decision, at least for the period while negotiation is going on?
First, it will be in the interest of Nigerians for the federal government to go back to status quo. Being that provision for the subsidy was made to the end of June, and unfortunately, the federal government, through the pronouncement of the president on the day of his inauguration, unilaterally kicked that out and said subsidy is gone. What happened to what has been paid? And so it is important that the federal government goes back to its status quo and ensure that pump price of fuel is restored to its former price or former order, to give room for other measures to be put in place, opinions from necessary stakeholders on how best to cope with the imminent removal of the subsidy. And this is what Nigerians are asking for. And that is what the Nigerian Labour Congress is asking for.
Okay. Let's bring in callers quickly. So we're running out of time again. 09073530044, or rather 09087668888. That is 09087668888. I can also take your calls on 09097054450. I'd love to hear from you. Let's get to this caller in. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Oh my God, this is really unfortunate this morning. What's happening? Can take calls on this line. All right, call 09097054450. That is 09097054450. Seems like the other lines seem to be down. The portal isn't working. We can't take calls on that other line. So 09097054450 would be the best number to call at this time. Now, Mr. Thaddeus Gado, let's look at the optics for government. If government rescinds its decision or goes back on this decision, what would it look like for a new administration? I'm sure that's what's stopping or holding the government back from reversing itself, seeing as the president had made that pronouncement. What would it look like? The optics wouldn't look good if the president goes back on the decision. Just a few days into the administration, it would portray the government as inconsistent. What do you make of that?
It will not in any way portray the government as inconsistent. Instead, it will portray the government as a government that has listening ears. Because the decision in itself was not only abrupt, was a decision that was I would want to say was ill-conceived. Because when Nigerians are supposed to be celebrating your inauguration, you decided to launch Nigerians into a period of depression, a period of mourning, and a period of emotional turmoil. So it will be in the right and in the interest of the government, the newly inaugurated government, to make Nigerians believe that they have listening ears and are ready to work in the interest of the larger populace. And this will also give the government time to make necessary consultation and not make unilateral decisions. When that is done, I believe His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will be in the right track of wanting to win the minds of some individuals. Now, this is not about scoring political points anyway. It is about the larger populace. And that is why I tell you that it is a political dilemma. The decision is a political dilemma. Subsidy removal is a political dilemma that is an economic necessity. But that being said, who put the government in the position it is today? It is the same pronouncement of the president. So it will not be out of place for the government to rescind his decision. Rather, it will give him some sense.
All right, let's bring in this
wanting
caller. Let's
to
bring
win
in
the
this
heart of
caller
Nigeria.
quickly. Very well said. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Panas.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you, Udokama. Let's hear you, please.
Yeah. Panas, I want to know, your first caller, is he a politician?
No, he's
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
not. He's just an economist, and economists on the supply side, are totally in support of the moves by the government. So yeah, you can understand that. You can understand his position.
You are discussing a different thing with him, and he was busy trying to defend the president. If we do not cry to the president, who do we cry to? The president wake up and make a pronouncement. Remember, I said this 2 days ago. He made a comment without checking what the effect of that comment is going to be. Now he have made a pronouncement. He said the subsidy is gone, and your first guest was saying that he said the subsidy is going to go. No, he said the subsidy is gone, and the marketers hijack their pump price and put it at the price they should. Now the NMPC, which are the government partner, the way I put it is their government partner, they bring out their price release 500 and 37 naira, and you expect the ordinary fish station out there to sell like 180 or 200 or 300. It's not done. They will sell higher than NFPC. That is what we know before now, that NFPC will always be the at cheaper rate. But this guy there is saying NFPC is not so. I don't know. We shouldn't defend government where they are going wrong.
All right, Udokama.
We all are Nigeria.
Okay.
We shouldn't defend government where they are going wrong.
Okay.
Tinubu as a president today should take the responsibility. Tell us what is going to happen. What is he going to put in place? Because me, as a person, I don't know. I can tell how much I will need to fill my car. It runs up to 38,000 something. Where would I get the money to fill my car in a week?
All right,
or
Udokama.
in less than 4 days?
Thank you very much for
Bye-bye.
calling. Thank you again. Appreciate you calling in. Now, this one question I missed to ask Mr. Ojutalayo, the economist. We're talking about deregulation of the downstream sector, and NMPC is fixing prices. Should it be so? If we're talking about deregulation, it calls for the market forces to determine prices and not anyone fixing prices. That's why it's called deregulation. So the regulation is removed from the sector and allow for the players to determine the prices, like it was done in the telecom sector. What do you make of the fact that as we speak, NMPC has fixed prices and released a pricing template?
Well, the deed has been done, but we must know that these are some of the illegalities that we're talking about. It is absolutely wrong, very, very wrong, and this forms part of the discussion and the basis for the NLC's position. And if you have been opportune to read the press release by the NLC, they have made reference to this issue. More so, provision was made for the subsidy to be captured for this quarter. For the first half of this year. We are not done with the first half. And yes, it has been removed. What happens to the money that has been paid or has been budgeted for? Why should NNPC just know? NNPC should be in the best position to even advise the government. Well, they are partners in the same business. I want to believe that His Excellency will do the right thing. He would listen. His economic team will give listening ears to the people who are the grassroots, who are with the people, which is the NLC. Listen to them. Listen to what they bring to the table. They are bringing to you the plight of the average Nigerian. Not just the plight of the workers, but the plight of the average Nigerian. Listen to them and do the needful.
All right.
And that being done, we will be on our way to getting these things right.
Mr. Titus Gado, sociologist and public affairs commentator, thank you so much for talking with us. We really appreciate your time and thoughts on the program this morning.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And this is where we drop the anchors to everyone who's been a part of it. Those of you who listened and tried to call but couldn't get through because our phone lines, the portal is a little down right now. Let's hope that tomorrow we're able to have a full conversation with you. Thank you so much for being a part of it. My name is Iheanacho Prince. Keep it with us.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.